And there we go. Right, let's get the show rolling. Da-da-da-da. Come in. Evening Kim, evening Hippie. Hope you two are doing well. Just sorting out some YouTube BS. So it won't be a moment. Come in. Perfect. Right. God, YouTube was really slow. Right. Evening, Rob. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you again. Right, that's all the YouTube crap sorted out. Good stuff. So, now I can finally welcome you to the next round of the GR4 League. It is your lanky potato here once again, as we've been watching Jason go around in his little Citroen. Once again, let's have a switch of some different cars to see what's in the race. Hammering it around the village with the village people tonight. A very, very different track to what we experienced last time out at Monza. Completely different ball game for all of these guys. So it should be very interesting to see what happens. So for those of you who are wondering in regards to the points, as I did only post them not too long ago for anybody who hasn't looked at the points as of yet. So let's have a quick run through them as of today's points. So the Drivers' Championship at the moment currently consists of Jason in first place with a total of 120 points, having both 60 points at both rounds 1 and 2 for a very clean and elegant 60 points each, rounding up to a total of 120. Rob currently is sitting in second place after having an amazing weekend at Monza last week, jumping right up from 4th to 2nd to jump both Hippie and Gad, as well as Creasy, who unfortunately couldn't make it last week but is back this week, so he should really be shaking up the points this time around in that Corvette. So we have Rob in second place with a total of 106 points. We we have the one and only Hippie in third place with another good consistent points total, which brings him out to a nice round and even 90 points, achieving 47 points in the last round as well. So excellent job from Hippie again. Gad currently sits now in fourth place after jumping both Wrighton and Creasy after the second round. He currently sits on 64 points, and not too close, well sorry, closely behind him is Wrighton with 59 points. And just back from him as well is Creasy. Now, despite only having 100 rounds worth of points, he's still very close on 52 points in total to both Gad and Wrighton, so it should be a massive shake-up for them guys this time around. We have Nick in 7th place, sitting on 43 points, and the newcomers of Julian and Sean sit in 10th and 11th place respectively on 22 points for Julian and 19 points for Sean. As well as the constructors' points, it is now very close at the top between Catastrophic and the ones who are always high. Let's have a quick check to see if I've got them right. I believe I have. Yes, I believe I have. Hang on. Yes, that is correct. Catastrophic and the ones who are always high, both Hippie and Gad having a very solid round at Monza, drawing them within 3 points of Catastrophic, who are ahead of them. Catastrophic sitting on 157 points, while the ones who are always high are on 154 points. Rob and Co on 106, and with Jason now stepping in as Julian's teammate, for Julian as Zero Cool sitting now on 92 points, so they'll be catching up very quickly to the rest of the field there. The off-track overtakers sitting on 62 points, and unfortunately with Creasy not able to race last time out, the Orange Bullets currently sit at the bottom of the table in the 6th place on 52 points, but that should all change very quickly at this circuit. So it should be very interesting to see what happens in this one, because at Monza it was very, very much all power and nothing else, but it'll be a real test for all of these drivers, because not any of these cars are particularly good handling cars. They are more known for their straight line speed, as speaking of which, as we watch the Mustang of Rocketman coming around with the Frosted Flakes Mustang looking very nice and appealing right now. As usual, Rocketman providing some awesome liveries in the Mustang. I believe we have Jason in first place once again in the Citroen. The Citroen should be an excellent choice of car around here. Again, a massive all-around car, and especially through the tight and twisty stuff, it should be a lot more capable than some of these bigger, heavier, more powerful cars. But we'll have to see what happens during the races here. We also have Mike's teammate Wrighton in the other Mustang, also matching Frosted Flakes liveries, or, you know, as we say in Britain, Frosties, because that's the name of them, you know, that's just the name of them. Anyway, he sits in third place at the moment. Let's have a look here, and we have Creasy back from his hiatus off of round 2. Should be very interesting to see how he fares in the only Corvette driver left in the championship now for Orange Bullets. So it should be very interesting to see how close he can get to the rest of the guys here. As we have Nick once again in the Guinness Macca, currently sitting in 5th place in the practice run now. Should be very interesting to see. The McLaren should be actually quite suited to this track. It is favourable, a bit more of an all-rounder, similar to the Citroen, but can be a bit more of a handful in these types of tracks, and we'll also have to watch out for tyre wear regarding this track layout. As we have Gad in the bright green Jag, who is currently hiding behind a tree at the moment. is trying to imitate his best friend Predator. And you can just see a bright green Jag poking out from around the trees there. Very nice, I guess. And we have Julian in the other Citroen. It was very nice to see Julian back out on track in a league race after many months and what feels like decades. So awesome to see Julian back out on track, and especially in the Citroen. So we'll be cheering on Julian today to do as well as possible. And we also have, of course, Mr. Pink himself. It is Hippie Heat sitting in the pits once again in the very pink Jag. So 8 drivers out in this race at the moment. So it should be very interesting to see what happens in this feature race. Well, I'm clearly the builder. I am jacked at the end of the day, Sean, so you know, that's definitely fits my personality. Ripped and bare-chested. Well, you better get on soon, Hippie, because we are going to be starting soon. It is 1:45 your time is starting, so we'll be starting in a couple minutes. Just to let you know. Don't worry, guys. As I say, if you need a couple more minutes, I'm cool with that, so don't worry too much. Ooh, crazy there, pushing the limits of that Corvette. Coming around the very tight left-hander up the hill there. Very sideways on exit, clipping the grass and almost spearing straight into guard there. But that Corvette is looking very quick at this early stages. Going to be interesting to see what Crazy can make of it at the moment. Of course you are, Hippie. I mean, realistically, it's only going to be... that's the only person you'd be. I can imagine you with a massive, like, hat on, really. Crown, really. With all the feathers, you know. I could imagine that. You should try and invest in one of them. Be a great Halloween outfit. Oh, we should totally go as, like, the village people for Halloween. That'd be funny. Sean is the cop as well. I don't know if I could take Sean seriously as a cop, but I'd love to see it. Sean would definitely be sexy cop, really, though. He'd come in a really tight, like, leather sleeveless jacket with like a pink plastic baton. I mean, what? And with that, we are going to be starting in a couple minutes. As soon as it hits 47, we shall give this one a go and make sure everybody is actually in and readied up. Looks to be that way. So when the clock hits 47, we shall say good luck and get this thing underway for the qualifier for the feature race. Waiting for the go. There it is. And I'm going to have to do that. Good luck. Let's get this thing underway. Is that going to be the question of the day then? Who, if you were to be one of the village people, who would you be? Is that the question of the day? Oh shit, never mind. Exit. Yeah, I've completely forgot Rob wasn't here. My bad, Rob. Yeah, completely forgot that Rob wasn't here. My bad, Rob. I'll reset it for you since we've literally just the second started. Apologies for that, Rob. No, don't worry, Rob. Well, look, we've literally just the second started as you joined, so we'll restart for you. Don't worry. Come on, guys, you know the drill by now. There we go. There's 2. There's 3. Greasy's the last one out. 1 car. There we go. Priorities, come on, man. Right, and with that, nah, don't worry about it, Greasy. And with that, let's once again say good luck. And now, let's get this thing underway. I think it would be a bit harsh since I literally just started it as soon as you came into the lobby there. Would be slightly harsh on my part. But then again, I'm not Jed or Sean, or Tej for that matter. So you know. I am a kind and humble potato. And also incredibly handsome. Just pointing it out there. As we see the first drivers to take to the grid, we have Creasy in first place, leading the field on these outlaps. Gad just behind him in the Jag, Mike in one of the Mustangs, Nick in the McLaren. Jason pulling off the side of the track at this early stage. I wonder if he's on the softer of the tyres at the moment. So quick check, yes he is, so he is wanting to make the most out of these soft tyres. But again, he might actually want to just pick up the pace a little bit here, because this will only be a banker lap, because he will be gradually using more fuel over the course of the qualifying session. So the faster laps will come later on, so you might want to just get around as quickly as possible, set a banker lap in, then make his way to the pits afterwards, so you can have as many laps as possible on the lower fuel. So it looks, let's have a quick look at what everybody's tyres are using at the moment. So it looks like Creasy is out on the medium tyre, so he will be darting into the pits straight away. Gad looks to be on the softer of the compound of tyres, so he will be setting his first flying lap on the next lap. Looks like Rocket Man has also gone on the medium tyres. He goes a bit wide on the hairpin there, not anticipating the brakes. So he will be also coming into the pits the same as Creasy. See Nick just behind him on the freshest on the soft tyres, so he will be starting his lap on the next one as well. And we have Wrighton on the medium tyres. He will also be darting into the pits on this outlap. We have Jason yet again, as we already know, on the soft tyres. Hippie still in the pits, and Rob also in the pits while they are busy eating. Priorities, people, come on. So let's have a quick look at these first sector times. Gad will be the first to go through the first sector and set his lap. So we have Gad, Nick, Jason, all on fast laps here. So you'll be the first guys to set flying laps at this stage. Be interesting to see what times they get here. There you go, get your ass out there, hippie. Rob is also finished as the 3 of them come out the pits at the same time. Julian swapping to the softer tyres, and Rob and Hippie coming out of the pits. Let's have a quick look at what tyres they are on. Rob is actually on the softs at this stage, and Hippie's also on the softs to get as many laps out there as possible. So let's get back to the front of the grid. Hippie's teammate Gard as he comes around the tight right hand hairpin before the uphill section. Incredibly technical, this track. Comes over the crest of the hill, taking as much speed as possible, late as you dare onto the brakes, coming into the chicane at the end of the lap. Very tight and technical circuit. Watch the wall on the outside. Gard looks to avoid it as he comes across the line. What will the lap be? It is a 2 minute, 2.1 for Gard. That is the benchmark for the rest of these guys. So we see Nick now coming across the pit straight. What kind of a lap will you do? A 2:05 for Nick there as Creasy and Jason goes to the top with a 2:01.6. A great lap there from Jason in the sit run, looking very strong at these early stages of the race, or as qualifying I should say. So it looks like Creasy is going to be on a quick lap, as well as Rocketman and Wrighton. Julian, Rob and Hippie also will be coming across the line very soon. See what kind of laps they can bring out. See Rob coming across the line now, so let's have a quick on-board view of his lap. To see Nick and Jason coming into the pits there. Looks like it might have been a little bit of a bump between the two. As we keep on board with Rob now, taking his here the understeer of the BMW at that point, giving as much mechanical grip as possible. Does Rob need a lift? Yes, a tiny lift from Rob as he goes around the long left-hander, coming out and into sector 1. He is 0.2 of a second up on Jason at this point in the race. Oh, looks to go a bit wide, maybe not braking as much, coming into the sharp right-hander before coming in to the banked corners now. Just a dab of the brakes and flick it in, 4th gear, riding it all the way around. Want to get as early on the power as possible and use as most of the track as possible here. Let's see what kind of line Rob takes at this stage. Opts to go in for the centre line and fling it out into the rest of the sector, coming into sector 3 now of the lap. Takes a wide as line as possible, flick it in towards the apex, hard on the brakes, down into 2nd gear, coming into the hairpin as Creasy goes across line with a 2 minute 01.4, putting him on pole, beating out Jason at this stage. Rocketman coming across the line, imagining pulling to 5th with a 2 minute 03.9, and Wrighton with a 2 minute 03 dead, putting him into 4th place. Ooh, looks like a bit of a understeer there again, and late braking from Rob, trying to squeeze out as much time as possible, maybe overdriving the BMW at this point. On the shortest run up to the line, will he manage to get close? No, it is only good enough for 3rd place, and 0.34 of a seconds away from Creasy, and 0.1 of a seconds away from Jason at this stage of the race. So you see Julian come across the line now with a 2:03.8 to pull him into 6th place. Good time from Julian at this stage of the race, and he might get a chance for one more flying lap on a fresh set of tyres, but he will have to ensure that he does pull into the pits at this stage. And you can see how much fuel and tyres is required at this track, as loads of the guys are coming up to halfway on their fuel. A lot of acceleration zones, and you can see how much the tyres go off as well. Very hard on both tyres and fuel this track, so tyre management as well as fuel management will be a massive factor in all of these guys' strategies today. Have a quick on board with our leader of the moment, Creasy, as he comes across the bank crest of the hill, coming down into the chicane, hard on the brakes. Very smooth from Creasy at this stage. Will he pull into the pits? He is pulling into the pits for a new set of soft tyres so he can go again for maybe 1 or 2 more laps. It looks like Jason is setting personal bests through the second sector. Will he manage to maintain that speed and get any closer to Creasy at this point, as he is 0.35 of a second quicker than Creasy at this stage. Looking very smooth coming around the hairpin there, shifting down to the first gear. That might have cost him a little bit of time through there. Small lift coming through the tight left-hander before the hill. Will he manage to maintain that speed from the first 2 sectors? Coming into the last chicane, down the third, Gasly shifting down to the second, getting that bit more traction. Using all of the gears to its advantage, and Jason comes across the line with a 2 minutes 01 point, well, dead actually, 2 minute 01 dead for Jason, and he may be able to get 1 more lap in at this stage, but will the tyres have worn off too quickly? We'll have to see, as the other guys might have actually had a bit more of an advantage at this stage, as we see Nick come across the line, managing to improve slightly with a 2:04.5. Good job from him. And it looks like Hippie is going to start his first flying lap here. Might be the first and only flying lap for him at this stage, and looks like Jason is going purple once again. No, actually he is slightly down in the first sector, so you see his teammate Julian coming up behind on his outlap. He won't want to waste too much of them tyres on this outlap, but he is on the optimal strategy here, as his fuel just dips below the halfway mark, so he will have the weight advantage. Coming into these final few qualifying laps here, see, is anybody out on a qualifying lap at the moment? Doesn't look like it at the moment, so it's all going to come down to, well, it looks like Hippie is the only person on track who is going for a flying lap at the moment. Let's have a quick eye on him. And crucially, will he make it back to the line for another lap here? Slight dabbing of the brakes here, just a bit of trail braking coming into the hairpin there. Let's see if he has to lift coming up into the hill section. Bit of a lift, bit of a downshift there, as he uses all the torque of that massive Jaguar engine coming up the hill. Again, hard on the brakes for Hippie there, but keeping it nice and smooth. Coming through the last chicane, what will Hippie manage to do? Avoiding the wall, getting as tight as possible to that apex, shortest run to the line, and it is a 2:03.1 for Hippie. That puts him in 6th place. Not where Hippie would have wanted to be at this stage of the race, but he will be able to make it up later on in the race. And again, the Jaguar might not be as suited to the village as it was to the other tracks this time around. It'll be interesting to see what the other guys can do here on their final flying laps. Doesn't look like Jason is going to be able to get another lap in here as he goes onto the medium tyres. That's what he will be starting the race on. So you see Creasy will be the next one to come across the line to see if he can improve and maybe displace Jason at the top. So he comes across the final chicane now. Will he be able to get any more time? No, he's actually very far off. Maybe a mistake during that lap. And Creasy stays in preliminary 2nd place for now. But let's have a quick look at the other guys coming across the line right now. Coming across the line, thundering down the pit straight. Manages to take 2nd place away from Creasy with a 2:01.3. Great lap from right in there. Utilising the fresher tyres, utilising the less fuel. And it looks like Rocket Man has also managed to improve, just jumping Hippie there to get 6th place. So let's have a quick look to see if there's any other guys coming around on the field now. So it looks like we have Rob now coming across the line, but looks like he's actually made a mistake on this lap and will not be improving as he slides it across the line. He will be in 4th place for the meantime as the last person coming across the line now. Julian with a 2:02.7, just managing to put himself into 7th place ahead of Hippie and Nick. Not as dramatic as the last qualifying session at Monza, but a very interesting one and a very mixed grid here at this stage. Rob down in 4th place, but we know how great his starts and great, and crucially not the best showing of qualifying here for the team who are always high, as Gard in 5th place and Hippie in 8th, not where they would have wanted to be at this stage of the race, as well as Rocketman after a great showing out in Monza, unfortunately not managing to pick his pace quite where he left off. But his teammate Wrighton once again showing his overall 1 lap pace to put himself in 2nd place, and that will be his 2nd front row grid of the season so far. So great jobs from Wrighton, and hopefully he can manage to maintain that going into the first corner this time around, as he won't have a massive chicane to deal with. So it'll be very interesting from the rest of these guys to see who will be able to come out on top at this stage at the very beginning of the race. Going to be very interesting indeed. As we see the grid for the first time, Jason 1st place, closely followed by Wrighton in 2nd, Creasy in that Corvette rounding out the top 3, Rob in 4th, Gad in 5th, Mike in 6th place, Julian in 7th, Hippie in 8th, and Nick in 9th place for the grid. Let's see who can get the best start here. 5 lights. And away they go there. Looks like Jason managed to get a good start. Looks like it's a good start from Creasy here as well, as he looks to try and make a move, maybe going around the outside of the Mustang coming into T1. Right, manages to hold the inside line, but let's see who can get the traction. Jason managing to hold on to P1 at this stage of the race, but it might be too wide coming into the first hairpin here. Very close between Wrighton and Creasy at this stage, but it looks like Rob's managed to maintain his 4th place over the big green Jag behind. Managing to maintain his place now as Creasy manages to move up the inside of Wrighton. Rob following suit with the added grip from that M4, and just managing to defend his position from Wrighton here. Wrighton looks to maybe move to the outside now, trying to make a move around the outside, but the grip of the M4 is too powerful for the Mustang to handle. But Wrighton will not give up so easily. You can see the amount of understeer and the lack of mechanical grip that Mustang has at this stage of the race. You can see Gard maybe trying to make a move on the inside of Wrighton here. No contact between the two, very respectful racing between the two, and Gad just manages to have the added grip of the Jaguar there and manages to take that place away from Wrighton. Wrighton again not having as good a start as the rest of the guys around him, but as you can see, a couple of these guys are actually starting out on the softer tyres, Rob especially. That is probably why he's actually tried to have a much better start over the rest of the field here. But Jason leads the way coming into the last chicane for the first time. And it'll be interesting to see if the wall of death claims any victims, because it has. Oh, looks like Creasy actually pulling into the pits immediately now. I wonder what he could be thinking. Maybe an alternative strategy from Creasy here. Maybe going for a 2-stop strategy this time around, because the pit lane is incredibly short. This could be very interesting from Creasy here, opting to maybe go for 2 sets of the soft tyres here. Very interesting. We'll have to have a quick look back to see how that fares for him later in the race, as he will be, well, just reeling the other guys in on the slightly lower fuel and fresher soft tyres. Very interesting strategy from Creasy, and it could work out very much to his benefit here, as it looks like the two leaders and the two championship leaders, I should add, are going at it once again. Jason leading the way at this early stage of the race, but the added grip of that M4 on the softer compounded tyres really giving him a hard time now. Rob really wants to make use of his soft tyres and dispatch Jason as quickly as possible, but Jason will know this and try his hardest to defend from the M4 behind. As you can see now, a battle still raging on for third place now. Gad just managing to stay ahead of Wrighton, both of these guys on the medium set of tyres, and looking very even on fuel wear so far. As both these guys also going purple of the second lap now. Rocketman not far behind, actually being hounded by Julian at this stage of the race, but Julian's actually on the softer of the two compounds to start of this race. Be very interesting to see if Julian can make use of these soft tyres at this stage, but he will have to dispatch of Mike, who is very formidable, especially in that Mustang, but you can see just how little grip that Mustang has around this particular course, so it'll be very difficult to defend against him behind. Rob still looking for a way round Jason at this stage of the race. Might have a chance here now though. Tucks right in behind Jason now. Which lane will he decide to go in? He's looking to go on the outside, but will have the inside line coming into the chicane. Will he have the better brakes of the two cars? Both of them very late on the brakes, but Rob using the mechanical grip over them soft tyres and managing to sneak through at this stage of the race, but he will have to defend very hard from Jason behind, because even though Jason's on the harder of the two compounds, that Citroen is mighty quick, especially in the hands of Jason, as you can see behind as well. Gad and Wrighton still going at it in the first few laps of this race. Wrighton still managing to really apply the pressure onto Gad at this stage of the race. You can see the Jag actually just having a bit more grip than the Mustang, but with the Mustang being in the Jag slipstream, it's probably one of the only cars that can actually match it in a straight line. So if that Jaguar doesn't have any slipstream in front, he will be caught by Wrighton, but at least he has the grip around the corners to boot. And it looks like Rob has actually managed to draw out a bit of a gap here. Maybe a small mistake by Jason, as now he has a 1.4 second lead for Rob, but you can actually see how much more them soft tyres are handling this circuit and how much more time he is finding throughout the rest of the circuit. So it's going to be very interesting to see how much of a gap Rob can manage here. Hard on the brakes, Wrighton still not quite managing to find a way past Gad just yet, but he is just biding his time, waiting for his opportunity now. As you can see now, Rocketman and Julian still close together. Rocketman doing a great job on their medium compounded tyres and just keeping sights of both Gad and Wrighton in front of him, as Hippie is now the next one to pull into the pits to get off their medium tyres as soon as possible. And also filling up along the way. No doubt he will be putting on a fresh set of the soft tyres, which he does, so he will be extraordinarily quick at this stage of the race. Medium tyres may not be the correct tyres to be on at this stage of the race. The softer compounded tyres really looking to have a big advantage over the rest of the field here. So I'll have to wait and see. And you can see how much time Creasy has now made on the rest of the field. 11 seconds behind both Rob and Jason at the moment, but remember, he will more than likely have to do another pit stop at this stage of the race. So he will be wanting to time his moves just right to avoid losing as much time as possible here. And he is purple coming through these first two sectors here. As you can see just in the background there as well, Gad and Wrighton still going at it exactly the same positions as they were before. Wrighton just around almost a half second mark behind Gad, making use of the slipstream, but You can see how much it is hemorrhaging in the corners, being in that slight bit of dirty air in these GR4 cars. It isn't affected as much as some of the higher downforce cars, such as the GR3s and the Super Formulas, but you can see through some of these corners it is actually affecting him now. And Gr4 getting a much nicer run up the hill and not allowing Wrighton to come back at this stage. Again, just maintaining that gap here. Gr4 seems to have the advantage through the corners and eking out that little bit of time, but the slipstream and the huge power of that Mustang down the straights really helping Wrighton to stay with him now. And you can see actually Rocketman behind actually keeping that distance fairly stand as well, but you can see Rocketman not actually managing to gain too much time because he's not in the slipstream of these guys here. Very interesting indeed. So you can see actually now Creasy has managed to jump Julian at this point of the race, but look at how well Julian is actually managing his tyres here. You can even see some of the leaders compare the tyres of Rob to Julian at this stage of the race. You can actually see a massive difference in the tyres and really good tyre management by Julian here. You actually see he's managing his fuel similar to the leader's pace as well. So great job by Julian at this stage, and hopefully he might be able to challenge here, but there might have been a mistake from Wrighton here as he now finds himself in 6th place. And it looks like he might have just gone a bit wide coming through the fast left hand here, and actually his teammate and Creasy now is wanting to overtake, so really unfortunate for Wrighton here as he was having a really nice battle with Gr4. But you can see how much, a little bit of contact there from Julian and Wrighton. I think just the additional wear of these tyres really coming into effect now, especially with their medium tyres, because look at how much wear is on them front tyres of the Mustang, as it looks like Creasy is now sizing up Rocketman coming into the last chicane. Be careful lads coming through there. Oh, you can see the understeer of the Mustang there, but Creasy going down the inside of Rocketman with the additional grip, managing to maintain and gain back his position and rides up into 4th place now. So you can see Rocketman and Wrighton there just using each other as an advantage now. These two really do have to try and work together to make sure they don't lose too much time, but if they can try and keep with Creasy as much as possible, especially down these straights, it's going to be very beneficial to them. Coming into the 2nd hairpin now. See how much time Creasy manages to gain on these guys here, and you can see how much more of an exit Creasy gains. He's now up to 0.75 of a second. He will slowly want to try and break that slipstream, and there he does, getting over 9/10 now and looking to the 2nd mark. That is the golden sweet spot of the slipstream this time around. And Creasy has broken the slipstream to the Stangs behind. You can actually see now, look at Jason now on them medium tyres, actually managing to really put some pressure on Rob. But you can see how much wear them sets of softs have really died off so quickly for Rob, especially with the high amount of fuel. Rob might want to make sure he pits in now to avoid him losing any more time. He's managing to just hold off Jason for the moment, but he really needs to get off them tyres right now with Jason behind him. Rob really pushing them soft tyres to the limit here. And will he make a dive into the pits? That he does. Halfway into this race, Rob makes his one and only stop. It is now up to Jason to see if he can manage his tyres, and more importantly, manage his pace to see if he can stay ahead of Rob and get the overcut over his championship rival at the moment. And it looks like Gr4 and Julian also following Rob into the pits. All of them on relatively similar fuels. as they come into the pits, as most of them will opt to take a full tank of fuel at this point of the race. And it looks like Rob has managed to come out on a full tank of fuel on their medium tyres and has managed to stay ahead of Hippie at this point. Unfortunately, not the best race for Hippie here, as he is still on them softer compounded tyres. But he has managed to jump Julian, who was in the pits here. Village might not be one of Hippie's strong suits, so it might be just the very small kink in his armour here. But we'll have to wait and see how the soft tyres hold up on the Jag. See Julian now, and actually managing to jump Gard quite a bit in the pits there. I wonder if there was an instant between the rest of these guys. Oh, actually Julian not putting any fuel in his car. That might have been a misclick from Julian, as he will have to make an additional pit stop for fuel. Disaster here for Julian now, as that might have been a misclick for him. We'll have to wait and see what he decides to do at this stage, as it looks like Nick has also pitted on the last lap, going on to the softer compounded tyres yet again. Let's have a quick check with our leaders now, as it looks like Greasy has actually managed to gain a massive advantage over the rest of the field now. So he is 11 seconds behind Jason at this stage, so he really hasn't managed to make up any ground on Jason at all at this stage of the race. And he will now more than likely be pulling in for another set of them soft tyres, which he does. So crucially, he's actually on exactly the same amount of fuel as the rest of these guys, but this will be a complete race to the finish now. As you can see, Jason now pulls out of the pits and is ahead of Rob by just under 3 seconds there. So a lovely overcut by Jason, managing to get out as much time as he could on that worn set of mediums, and actually putting in a little less fuel than Rob at this stage of the race, and managing to put a gap between himself and the BM driver. Julian with an amazing strategy now, but again, it really was unfortunate, because I believe that probably was a misclick, as he finds himself in third place on a fresh set of tyres, but with very little fuel at this stage of the race. But look at Creasy now, with a 2 and a bit second gap to Gard behind him on a fresh set of soft tyres at this stage of the race. It will be very interesting to see if Gard can actually try and catch Creasy, as he looks to maybe inherit third position at the moment. You can see Rocket Man behind. It will be very interesting between Catastrophic and the ones who are always high, the leaders of the constructors at this point, as both the strategies not working out quite as well as they would have hoped. But it's going to be very interesting to see who can actually put pedal to the metal. See who comes out on top at this stage. Gard with the advantage at the moment, but he does have a slightly more worn set of tyres compared to both Rocket Man and Wrighton here. But remember, them Mustangs really do hemorrhage tyres, especially on them front rights and front lefts here. So it'll be very interesting to see during the latter half of these stints where these guys will come out on top. As you can see, Julian now on very, very little fuel, coming around the final corner. He will have to dive into the pits on this lap. Let's see where he ends up. And unfortunately, it looks like he might be going to the back of the field here, as he drops into 7th place. Greasy inherits third with Gard 3.7 seconds below him. And the gap staying very consistent between both Gard, Rocket Man and Wrighton here. Julian coming out in 8th place on a fresh set of the soft tyres, and unfortunately is quite a way back from the rest of the field. So it looks like this is the one battle to be keeping an eye on here, to see if any of these guys can make any headway of each other. And look at Wrighton now, showing some really nice pace. 0.05 a second purple on the rest of the field there. Just beating out Rob's time so far. Be interesting to see if he can maintain that pace, because he is catching up to his teammate here. But again, Wrighton will really be hammering them tyres home. And Gard not losing too much time to Creasy, but Creasy just opening out the gap slightly more this time around, and just around about the 4-second mark. Doing a personal best with a 2:02.3, just managing to eke out a little bit more time on Rocketman at the stage, as Jason actually sets a new fastest lap of the race with a 2:01.2, just beating out Rob's previous fastest lap here. Jason really showing his stuff here around this very tight and twisty technical circuit here, and the Citroen really doing him wonders at this stage of the race. Let's have a quick check back in with him, and you can see how much time them softer tyres on the Citroen have gained over Rob now. Almost 7.5 seconds advantage here to Rob, and at this stage, and Jason is looking very comfortable on the lesser fuel, on the fresher tyres. Great stuff from Jason here. As you can see now, Creasy actually managing to just close in a bit more of a gap to Rob, who looks to be maybe struggling a little bit on these medium sets of tyres now. The two-stop strategy could actually end up playing out well for Creasy here, but both of them showing very similar signs of wear. Creasy having the lesser fuel of the two. And you can see actually how much time he's gained on Gard now, up to 5.8 seconds the gap. Really good job from Creasy here. And Rocketman actually managing to close the gap a little bit more to Gard in front. Only 1.4 seconds separates him, so a great lap from Rocketman. And it looks like Hippie has actually managed to overtake Wrighton. Maybe a small mistake again from Wrighton now, as he is actually quite a bit further back to his teammate than he previously was. You can actually see as well Hippie managing to make up some good ground on Rocketman at this stage of the race, and you can see actually Rocketman might have made a mistake going through them S's, as he has actually really lost a bit of time here. Let's see if we can have a quick look at what happened to Rocketman at this stage. Oh, just hitting the brakes a little bit too hard, maybe coming through that sector, and really losing a lot of time at this stage of the race. It's not something you'd want to do. But again, looks like Gard's actually made a mistake at this point as well, as he's now even closer to Rocketman yet again. Only 1 second separating them, so Gard's teammate catching Rocketman, but Wrighton also just clawing a little bit back of time on Hippie here. Very nip and tuck between all of these guys here. Going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top, because it looks like the entire group of these four is actually going to be coming together rather soon. Rocketman gaining on Gard, Hippie gaining on Rocketman, and Wrighton gaining on Hippie here. So it could be a very interesting battle to the end. All of these guys on exactly the same set of tyres. Looks like all of them have very similar sorts of tyres and fuel wear, so it is going to be a race to the end, and who can hold them off the best. Going to be very interesting to see who manages to take these positions away. Gard leading this pack of four at the moment, 1.3 seconds ahead of Rocketman, just eking out 2/10 on the Mustang driver, with maybe a couple more laps to go here. Be interesting to see where these guys cross the line, because it's going to be very, very close. Whether these guys will be doing one more lap or 2 more laps. It looks like this might be the penultimate lap for them. And you can see the gap behind now. Hippie actually really putting the pressure on Rocketman now, and this will be the final lap they're coming onto now, as it looks like Wrighton has actually made a mistake. Really unfortunate for Wrighton now. Just a couple of mistakes too many for Wrighton at this point of the race, and unfortunately puts him out of the running to challenge for this pack now. But you can see, let's focus on these 2 drivers here, the closest 2 drivers out on track at the moment. Hippie closely following Rocketman in the slipstream of the Mustang. Rocketman goes defensive, opting for the outside line, but has the inside line coming up to the second hairpin, who will have the better brakes and the better line. Looks like Hippie just manages to do enough there, but doesn't quite get the run out of the hairpin he wanted. Rocketman holding on to 5th place for the moment and not wanting to let Hippie gain any more points in the Constructors' Championship so far. Hippie looking for a move around the outside, hard onto the brakes, looking for a move around the outside of Rocketman, just going a bit wide and can't maintain the speed coming around the tight right-hander there, but he will have the inside line coming up to the left-hander. Will he have the brakes? Just managing to get the car slowed down just barely, and manages to make the place on Rocketman. Let's have a quick replay of that overtake. So you can see there, just managing to maintain the inside line, just managing to turn the car in the right amount of brakes, and managing to squeeze on through into 5th place. Good showing here for the ones who are always high, but can he manage to maintain the position? And it's a lovely recovery drive from Hippie. Looks to have struggled here in the early portion of this race, but managing to come out on top as Rob just manages to cross the line there and get on to the 13th lap. Creasy is the first one to cross the line, only just under 2 seconds ahead of Rob there coming across the line. Hippie manages to just eke out Rocketman across the line to take 5th place. Gad takes a very well-deserved 4th place at this point, and that's massive points for them guys in the championship, and to put themselves ever closer to catastrophic now. It's going to be very close between them 2 constructors at this point of the race. Julian comes across in 8th place after an unfortunate error, it looks to be in the pits there. Maybe a misclick from him, but he was gaining on Wrighton at the end there and was very quick around some of these laps there with a 2:01.6 at one point. Really good laps from him. And Nick coming across in 9th place. But unless no mistakes happen, we still have 2 drivers going around the track here, and what a dominated victory it was here for Jason. Really showing his stuff in the sit run, 15 seconds ahead of his championship rival Rob. Really throwing that sit run about here. As he's now coming into the tight left-hander, coming up the hill and across the crest of the hill. 15.5 seconds separates 1st and 2nd place. An emphatic victory for Jason this time around. Comes through the final chicane, onto the pit straight, avoiding the wall of death. Coming home into the pits just to show off like the little pleb he is. Great win for Jason, completely comfortable in the end. Really good result for him. And Rob, once again showing his consistency, coming across the line to take 2nd place. Good show by all of these drivers again. And an excellent show. A clean sweep for Jason, pole position, start and pole, fastest lap, and a clean race to boot. Great stuff from him, as we see Rob floating backwards across the track, because GT Sport is a great, definitely not broken game. So let's just have a quick recap of them results after the race is finished. Jason coming across in first place with the fastest lap with pole position, maintaining it throughout the entire race there, finishing 14.8 seconds ahead of Rob, his championship rival at the moment. Still a great drive from Rob, yet again maintaining his position and securing much needed points to keep him in the runnings. Great race from Crazy as well, the alternative strategy actually working out really much to his advantage here, managing to take the last step of the podium. Two great drives from the Jaguar brothers, of the ones who are always high. Gad taking fourth place this time around over his teammate Hippie, just managing to have the edge on strategy, and a good first stint from him, managing to maintain the gap over his teammate. Rocketman and Wrighton in both the Mustangs there. Unfortunately not the result they would have wanted here today, but it is not a track for the Mustang this time around, and will be really wanting to recoup in the sprint race coming up very shortly. Julian coming across in 8th place with an unfortunate looked to be misclick in the pits for him, an unfortunate 8th place, but he will start on the front row of the grid for the sprint race, as well as Nick, who will be starting in pole position. So great job by most of these guys. Really good stuff. Just making sure I've saved the replay. I have. So let's have a quick change of the settings here. Let's have a quick check of all these ones. Yep, looks to be it. Let's go. There we go. You know, you don't have to force it if you don't need to, Rob, right? Again, I thought you could have just found a replacement hand for you. Just, you know, just like clipped it off and got a new one, you know? As we get into the practice for the sprint race here. Let's have a quick look at all of these liveries once again. In the ever glorious Mitsubishi Evo 10, one of my favourite cars. Not to use in the game, because in the game, compared to everything else, it's pretty terrible. But in real life, I would love to have one of these things. Lovely pink one from Hippie there. Keep an eye out for Julian as well. He managed to do very well in the opening few laps of the sprint race last time around at Monza, so never count him out. Could have a shocking result here for Julian, so keep an eye on him. He could provide some miracles here today. Right, and going around in what can only be described as the Geordie abomination. That is that Evo 10. Jason just behind him as well. And obviously opting not to use the lovely liveries of Rocket Man that he has done in that Evo. But hey, whatever floats his boat. It's going to be interesting to see whether the two catastrophic guys can actually maintain their positions over the ones that are always high, because they will have both of them will have the grid advantage in this sprint race. So it looks like Crazy is now challenging Rocketman coming into or through the middle sector. Ooh, but it looks like Rocketman actually just going a bit wide after being challenged by Greasy there. Unfortunate for him. So what time is it? 5 more minutes. Of course, yeah, the robot service must be closed on Sunday. Yeah, of course, it'll be shut early. Feel sorry for you, man. Bloody Sunday service. Looks like Jason and Wrighton are going at it at this moment. Maybe a little bit of contact between them. Hippie cheering them on from the sidelines, it looks like. Oh, back in the bits for Hippie. Good lap from Creasy. As a few of the drivers decide to park up along the side. The ones who are always high, just peeking over the ridge there. You can just see their backlights. Good shot of the other guys coming through the picture though. Going to be a very interesting race indeed. Just a couple of minutes to the start here, starting at 1:45. Good battle between these two at the moment. Just counting down to the start here. Making sure everybody is readied up as we see the two who are always high sitting in the picture there, looking lovely as ever. Pink and green, two of my favourite colours. Getting an eerie vibe here as the camera is slowly zooming in. Very, very slowly. Now it's zooming back out again. Curious. But with that, I think we've waited long enough. Let's get the show on the road. Good luck, everybody. Let's get this thing rolling. Right, and coming through the picture there. Showing off the Geordie drift machine. So, going to be interesting as we see Nick, who will be on pole for this one. It's going to be very interesting to see the chicane as well. See if everybody actually manages to make it through that first chicane. Because it could be tight here. Let's see who manages to make it through the first chicane. Where's the cut-off point? There's third, there's fourth. Fifth coming through the picture now, and away we go. Nick leading the field, coming into the first corner. Looks like it might have been about 6th place, the cut-off there, but looks like nobody has lost too much time through there. But Jason already hounding Rob here at this early stage of the sprint race. And it looks like right in here is already trying to make a move on Julian here. Right on his backside here, Julian opts to go for the defensive position. Wrighton really good on the brakes there, sweeping around the outside. That was a great overtake from Wrighton there. As it looks like Nick's actually managed to make a mistake there as Wrighton actually goes through on the inside of Nick now. Great start for Wrighton now, taking first place away from his rivals. You can see Rocket Man just behind him as well, holding off Hippie for the moment. But you can actually see Creasy there also trying to battle with Gad at this point. Will Hippie have the grip to make it past Rocket Man? Rocket Man goes wide coming out of the long left-hander. Will he have enough overspeed to take Rocket Man? He does, and it looks like Rocket Man is now falling into the battle behind. A little bit of contact there between Gad and Rocket Man yet again. I think there was just a little twitch between these two there. Unfortunate for Gad yet again, just a little bit of contact between him and Rocket Man. Nothing Gad could have done about that. And Gad unfortunately finds himself in 9th place. Let's see if we can have a quick look at that, or we might be too late there. Yeah, it looks like it was Rocket Man and Creasy there, just a battle between them. Unfortunately just sending Gad into the wall. You can see a massive pack of people developing now. Rocket Man leading the way there in 5th place. You can see Creasy there just wanting to hold off Jason as much as possible. Rocket Man Man doing a good job just to keep ahead of this pack at the moment, but you can see how much the slipstream is having an effect. Will Rocket Man want to try and go defensive? Creasy looks to make a move on the inside there. Dives in. Ooh, looks like Rocket Man just gets a little bit too early on the power there, and Creasy goes through. Good pass from him. Now Creasy wants to make up as much time as possible, while the other guys are still battling behind. Oh, Jason looks to go for a move on the inside, just managing to avoid Rocket Man there, compromising his exit. And now Rob can have a go at challenging him as well. So you can see Hippie now managing to move up into 3rd place. Good stuff from him in this sprint race. You can see Wrighton just managing to maintain a solid gap over Nick in 2nd as well. But the battle for 5th continues. Creasy now not managing to eke out too much of a gap yet, but we still have over 10 minutes of this race remaining. Very tight between all of these guys now. Ooh, tiny bit of touch there between Jason and Rocket Man. Jason won't want to do too many of them, as it looks like Rob wants to try and make a move on the inside of Jason, but takes a little bit too much of the curb on the inside. Unfortunately doesn't get that run he needs. Creasy now managing to eke out a 2nd gap between the pack behind. Rocket Man doing a good job of defending and keeping both Jason and Rob behind at the moment, but they are looking to apply the pressure wherever possible here, and it looks like the front 4 are now converging into more of a pack, as well as all of them having a bit of slipstream on each other. As you can see now, Creasy actually making out a 1.5 second gap. As you can see, the pack of 3 behind Rocket Man getting hounded by both Jason and Rob. 3 wide coming into the 2nd hairpin. Who will have the advantage? Rocket Man early on the brakes and just opting to concede them positions, and Jason and Rob both go through into 6th and 7th place. Julian now doing a good job to maintain his position in 4th, however he is being caught by Creasy behind, and you can see now Nick and Hippie having a good old scrap here. Nick doing his very best to defend his position. Having a bit of a poor run coming out of the long left-hander there, coming into the banked right. And it's a very deceiving corner, that banked corner. It looks like Hippie has a very nice run coming into the last of the hairpins at the track. He will have the better of the brakes there. Ooh, looks like Nick actually goes very wide coming in to that hairpin, gives Hippie a chance to capitalise, but will he be able to? Hippie slots in behind Nick and opts to get the better run up the hill, which it looks like he might do. Hippie and Nick alongside each other coming across the hill section. Hippie with the advantage, and it looks like Creasy is wanting to capitalise here. No, bit of contact between Nick and Hippie there. Oh, and it's a battle for 3rd here, as it looks like Julian now gets jumped by Creasy. Oh, looks like Nick's a bit of a battle there between Nick and Creasy there. Nick just pushing Creasy off the side there onto the grass, really not leaving any room there. Bit of aggressive driving from Nick here at this stage, really wanting to hold on to that 3rd place. Could have done without the contact there though, but the battle does continue on. Let's have a look to see if he can defend his line there from Creasy. Creasy dives to the inside there, pulling the same move as he did on Rocket Man earlier in the race, and manages to maintain his position there. Maybe Nick will have conceded that place there, but look at the back there. Jason now managing to move ahead of Julian as well, as he sets a new purple sector through the 1st sector. And it looks like it's the job of these guys to now catch Wrighton, who is in 1st place. Hippie doing a good job at this moment, managing to draw the time down from 2 seconds to under 1.5 here. Creasy is managing to just pull a gap on Nick in this instance. Nick opting for the high line to try and get the cut back on Jason, which looks like he almost does. Jason just having that bit more grip over Julian at this stage of the race. Hard on the brakes into the last hairpin there. It looks like Rob actually makes a try to make a move on Julian there, and actually gets the traction around the outside of Julian. Good job from him there. Oh, but looks like Rob actually makes a huge mistake coming out of that tight left-hander. Actually allows Julian to get back in front now. Not the best race from Rob so far, as he still finds himself down in 7th place. Might be just being held up a little bit by the traffic here, and can't manage to find it quite a way through yet. So you can see Hippie now managing to draw the gap down to just under 1 second, but has a little bit of a mishap coming through the first corner there, losing a bit of time to both Wrighton and Creasy. But nothing too much there. Very tight between these guys. It looks like Jason is looking to capitalise. Oh, as Creasy goes wide! Creasy goes wide coming out of the first hairpin there. Will that compromise Jason at all? Oh, it does a little bit as Jason looks to go around the outside. Just manages to have enough grip from the Mitsubishi there and sweeps around the outside to capitalise on Creasy's mistake. Looks like Rob, Julian and Rocketman all looking for a battle here. Julian unfortunately loses out on 2 positions here, as Rob manages to finally break that and get himself into 6th place, and hopefully he can catch up to the rest of the pack here. As it looks like Jason has lost a little bit of time there to the 2 leaders at this stage, Wrighton and Hippie, the 2 Geordie lads going at it. Wrighton just losing a bit of time coming through the long banked corner, and Hippie now pulling into slipstream range. Hippie just looking to be the little bit of a cleaner driver here and just shaving off them little tents coming around all these corners here. Coming into the last sector. Up over the hill, over the crest. Down into the hard braking zone for the chicane. And looks like Hippie gets a nice run out of there, but still not close enough to capitalise on Wrighton. Wrighton doing a very good job by just maintaining his pace, and 2 great laps from Hippie and Jason there, both almost identical to each other. Hippie getting a 58.9 and Jason just beating that with a 58.7. So good job from him, as it looks like we have a battle in the background as well. Julian and Rocketman going at it. This may lead to an opportunity for guards to catch back up, and it looks like Rob has now managed to pass Nick as well at some point. Maybe a mistake from Nick at this point of the race, as he now finds himself in 6th place and is now being hounded by both Rocketman and Julian. Oh, it looks like Rocketman actually gets a lovely run out of the first hairpin. A little bit of contact coming into long right hander again. Rocketman just looking for the switch back. Will he be able to go onto the brakes? There's Nick just managing to ride around the outside there. Good defensive driving from Nick, but he will be on the outside coming across, but then back on the inside for the next corner. Oh, really aggressive driving by Nick there again, but unfortunately he looks like he may have just taken a bit too much out of his time there, and has actually allowed both Rocketman and Julian to come up his inside there. Bit of contact between these 2 as well as Nick. Ooh, maybe a tiny bit of contact there as Nick just goes off into the barrier there. Really unfortunate for Nick. Let's have a quick look at the battle for first place. Ooh, Hippie just going a bit sideways there, just taking a little bit too much of the curb. That might leave him vulnerable to Jason behind, as this might be no, there will actually be 2 more laps of this race looking at the time remaining. Creasy there looking to just have dropped off the pace a little bit and not able to challenge the front 3 now. Great job by both Wrighton and Hippie at this stage of the race to just maintain that gap and be able to challenge for the lead at this race here. as it looks like Gard's actually managed to capitalise on Julian's small mistake there and also jump him as well, as he now looks to try and hunt down Rocketman at this stage of the race as well. Looks like Wrighton and Hippie just take a little bit wider lines compared to Jason there. Very, very close between these guys now. Under a second separates them all, as Jason almost goes too wide of the corner but keeps as much of the tyres on track as possible. Will Hippie think of going for a move down the inside? No, he doesn't. He opts to keep a tighter line there, but look at Jason now. He's managed to keep the momentum going around the inside of the banked corner there. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the two. Don't think that was intentional though. Very close between these two at this point. But Jason just managing to maintain his position and keep himself in contention for the win here. But don't discount Hippie. He will be in the slipstream and he will be very aggressive coming into this final lap of the race. Will Wrighton be able to hold on? Hippie having a lovely run coming up the hill now. Very close between these guys once again. Looks like Jason's actually managed to get the jump on Wrighton at this stage of the race. Almost a deja vu scenario. Top three really battling here at this last lap of the race. Jason making a move on the inside there, just managing to keep his position there. Maybe a tiny bit of contact between him and Wrighton, but manages to make the move stick. Will Wrighton try and make a move on Jason coming into the tight right-hander? No, he doesn't look like he's able to, but will he get the run coming out in during the middle of this sector? Wrighton looks to make a lunge down the inside. Will he manage to make it stick? He just manages to make it, goes a little bit wide on exit. That does compromise his exit a little bit. Jason just manages to keep the position there. Hippie looking for the cut back on Wrighton as well, just behind. Oh no, and Wrighton goes wide. Wrighton goes wide and Creasy follows him in the background. Disaster for these two drivers here. And let's have a quick look at that. Hippie still hounding Jason in the background there. I don't know if it was a tiny bit of contact maybe, or it was just Wrighton just taking a little bit too much speed. Ooh, Hippie just going wide there out of the final corner, and unfortunately that looks to spell the end of his challenge there. Really unfortunate for Hippie, but anything could happen coming through the chicane. Does Jason manage to keep it clean? He does, just manages to miss the wall there, and Jason comes across the line to take first place. Hippie with a great result in second as well. Wrighton, a great result taking third, and Rob just... No, Creasy just takes fourth place coming across the line. My god, that was completely even coming across the line. They don't have any time separating them. That was under a millisecond difference between them guys there. Gad coming in 7th and Julian in 8th, as well as Rocketman in 6th. Fastest lap in the clean race there for Jason yet again. As you can see, one of them guys coming across the screen once again, because this game is not broken. Really good stuff there from all these guys. Really unfortunate between Wrighton and Hippie. That might need an incident looking at, depending if there was any contact there. But a good race nonetheless. Let's have a quick run through of the points yet again. Jason once again coming out on top dominating the entirety of this weekend, getting on pole, clean races, both the race victories, the first to do so in the championship so far, to score both a win in the feature and the sprint race. So excellent job from him, mastering the village. And Hippie doing the same in the sprint race. A great job for him, finishing second, besting his almost permanent run of third places here. For fifth place in the feature, but making up for it in the sprint with a great second place. Brighton with a great performance there. Unfortunately, just couldn't manage out to hold on to the end to his first place, but still a great result to take that bottom step of the podium. Creasy not quite managing to maintain the pace of his rivals around. The same with Rob there, but a millisecond difference between Creasy and Rob coming across the line. An amazing race overall, and yet again an amazingly close finish between two of the drivers here. Rocketman unfortunately not managing to have the cleanest of races here today, and unfortunately them couple of incidents and slight mistakes do find himself in sixth place. And unfortunately Gard, after the early incident earlier in the race, unfortunately could not find the pace and finds himself in seventh place despite the very good feature race he had. And unfortunately Julian, again, just with a small mistake in a couple of places, finds himself in eighth place of the race. Good stuff from all these guys again. Yep, join our Discord, 6 seasons. Thank you, Rob. Took the words right out of my mouth. All the information will be in the Discord to have a look at this 6 seasons. As I say, if you want to try and look us out, yeah, to be honest, Nick and Rob, I fully agree. Village is a very, very temperamental circuit at the best of times. So it's very, very, what's the word? Inconsistent at times as well. So it's fully understand that. But with that, as I say, 6 seasons, if you want to give the Discord a click, it is one of the links in the chat there. As I say, our good friend Rob has posted a link to the Discord there, and I believe it also is a link in our description of the YouTube stream. So give it a check out, and hopefully we shall see you on track very soon. But from me, that will be the end for round 3 of the GRT Gr4 Season 4 Championship. Thank you very much for watching, guys. And next week, I believe, let's have a quick check, we will be at Red Bull Ring. So a classic circuit for the Gr4 League, and should be a very interesting one. As I say, it is definitely a very balanced circuit, really, so should be great to see. Thank you, Hippie, thank you, Nick, thank you, Rob, for tuning in as well through this point, and thank you everybody here for tuning in and who has been part of these races. Once again, it is a joy to commentate over, and with that, we shall see you next week at Red Bull Ring, same time next Sunday. Lobby will open at around 7:30 GRT time or British Standard Time. Racing will begin at 7:45, and the stream somewhere in between them, but again, I digress. With that, this has been your Lanky Potato, signing out for now, and catch you guys next week.